Hey garden fam, welcome back to The Sprout. Today we're talking about one of the most rewarding fruit bushes you can grow in your garden, the Highbush blueberry. Not only do you get beautiful white flowers in spring and stunning red and orange foliage in fall, but you also get buckets of sweet, juicy, antioxidant-packed berries in summer. Store-bought blueberries are fine, but homegrown blueberries, still warm from the sun, bursting with flavor, there's no comparison. But here's the thing, blueberries have a reputation for being finicky. People plant them, they don't grow, they don't produce fruit, and people give up. The problem is almost always the same: soil pH. Blueberries are acid-loving plants. They need very specific soil conditions to thrive. Give them what they need, and they'll reward you for decades. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We put out new gardening videos every week, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Also, drop a comment below. Have you ever tried growing blueberries? Success or failure? I'd love to hear your story. Now, let's get into it. First, let's talk about what Highbush blueberries are. Blueberries belong to the heath family, Ericaceae, the same family as azaleas, rhododendrons, and camellias. And just like those plants, blueberries are acid lovers. In the wild, they evolved in sandy, acidic, boggy soils with high organic matter. Their shallow, fibrous root system is very fine. Some roots are as thin as a human hair, and they can't penetrate heavy clay soils. Understanding where they come from explains almost everything about how to grow them. Let's start with the most important thing: soil pH. Blueberries require strongly acidic soil with a pH between 4.0 and 5.5. The ideal range is 4.5 to 5.0. If your soil pH is above 5.5, your blueberries will struggle. The leaves will turn yellow between the veins. That's called chlorosis, and the plants will be stunted. They may not produce fruit at all. If your soil is neutral or alkaline, you have two choices. You can lower the pH by adding sulfur or peat moss, or you can grow your blueberries in large containers with acidic potting mix. I'll show you how to do both. Before you plant, test your soil pH. A soil testing lab gives the most accurate results. Home test kits are okay, but they're only accurate to about half a pH unit. For blueberries, that's not precise enough. If your pH needs to be lowered, add elemental sulfur to the soil. Sulfur reacts slowly. It can take several months to a year to fully lower the pH, so plan ahead. For sandy soils, you need less sulfur. For clay soils, you need more. The general rule is about 1 to 2 pounds of sulfur for every 100 square feet to lower pH by 1 point. A faster method is to mix sphagnum peat moss into the planting hole. Peat moss has a pH of 3.0 to 4.5, and it works immediately. Now let's talk about where to plant. Blueberries need full sun. They need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight every day. In too much shade, they won't produce many berries, and the plants will be leggy. They also need well-drained soil. Blueberries hate wet feet. Their shallow roots rot easily in soggy soil. If you have heavy clay, plant them in raised beds or containers. They also prefer soil high in organic matter. 4 to 20% is ideal. Before planting, amend your soil with compost or peat moss. Now let's talk about varieties. There are many Highbush blueberry varieties, and choosing the right one for your climate is important. For early season fruit, try Duke or Patriot. For mid-season, Blue Crop is the industry standard, reliable, productive, and hardy. For late-season fruit, Elliott and Jersey are excellent. For small gardens or containers, half-high varieties like North Blue and North Country grow only 2 to 3 feet tall. For warmer climates, southern Highbush varieties like Emerald and Jewel need fewer chill hours. Blueberries are self-pollinating, but you'll get a much bigger crop if you plant at least 2 different varieties for cross-pollination. The bees will thank you. Now let's talk about when and how to plant. The best time to plant is early spring or fall. Fall planting gives the roots time to establish before winter. Spring planting works well too, especially in cold climates. Dig a hole twice as wide as the root ball and just as deep. Mix peat moss or compost into the soil. Place the plant in the hole so the top of the root ball is level with or slightly above the soil surface. Don't plant too deep. Backfill with soil, water thoroughly, and mulch. Mulch is critical for blueberries. Apply a layer of pine bark, pine needles, or wood chips 4 to 6 inches deep. Mulch keeps the soil moist, suppresses weeds, and slowly acidifies the soil as it breaks down. Avoid using cedar mulch. It can be allelopathic to blueberries. Now let's talk about watering. Blueberries have shallow roots and need consistent moisture. Water deeply once or twice a week during the growing season. In hot, dry weather, you may need to water more often. The key is to keep the soil evenly moist but not soggy. Drip irrigation or soaker hoses are ideal. They deliver water directly to the roots without wetting the leaves. Wet leaves can lead to fungal diseases. Never let the soil dry out completely, especially during fruit development. Dry spells will make the berries small and shriveled. Now let's talk about fertilizing. Blueberries are light feeders and they need special fertilizer. Do not use standard garden fertilizer or manure. They're too high in nitrogen and can burn the roots. Use a fertilizer formulated for acid-loving plants, like azalea or rhododendron food. Look for ammonium sulfate as the nitrogen source. Blueberries prefer ammonium over nitrate. Apply fertilizer in early spring just as the buds begin to swell. A second application in late spring is optional. Don't fertilize after midsummer. Late-season growth can be damaged by winter cold. For organic options, use blood meal, cottonseed meal, or fish meal. Now let's talk about pruning. Blueberries need annual pruning to stay productive. The best time to prune is late winter or early spring while the plant is still dormant. Pruning is simple once you understand the goal. You want a bush with canes of different ages, 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year plus canes. Each year, remove about 1/4 of the oldest canes, the ones that are thick, gray, and covered with lichen. Cut them all the way to the ground. Also, remove any dead, diseased, weak, or crossing branches, and remove any low-angled branches that are too close to the ground. The fruit on those branches will get splashed with mud. For young plants, the first 2 to 3 years, remove all the flowers. I know it's hard, but you want the plant to put its energy into growing roots and branches, not into producing a few tiny berries. By year 3, you can let it fruit. The yield will be much bigger because the plant is strong. Here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Do you grow blueberries? What's your favorite variety? Any tips for keeping the birds away? I'd love to know. Now let's talk about pests and problems. Let's go through them one by one. Problem 1. Yellow leaves with green veins. That's chlorosis. It's almost always caused by soil pH that's too high. The plant can't access iron. Test your pH and add sulfur or peat moss to lower it. Problem 2. No fruit or very little fruit. This can be from too much shade, not enough chill hours, or lack of pollination. Plant in full sun. Choose varieties suited to your climate. Add a second variety for cross-pollination. Problem 3. Birds eating all the berries. Birds love blueberries even more than we do. The only reliable solution is netting. Cover the bushes with bird netting when the berries start to turn blue. Secure the netting to the ground so birds can't get underneath. Problem 4. Mummified berries. Shriveled, pinkish-gray berries that stay on the bush. This is a fungal disease called mummyberry. Remove and destroy affected berries. Rake up fallen leaves and berries in fall. Mulch helps prevent the fungus from spreading. Problem 6. Stem blight. Cankers on the stems that cause dieback. Prune out affected stems below the canker. Don't overwater. Improve air circulation. Problem 7. Fruit worms. Small caterpillars inside the berries. They're hard to control. Pruning and sanitation help. In severe cases, use an organic insecticide like spinosad after flowering. Now let's talk about growing blueberries in containers. This is a great option if your soil is too alkaline or if you have limited space. Choose a large pot, at least 18 inches wide and deep. Use a potting mix made for acid-loving plants or mix your own with peat moss and perlite. Water regularly. Containers dry out faster than garden soil. Fertilize monthly during the growing season with an acid-loving plant fertilizer. In cold climates, move the pot to a protected spot in winter. Dwarf varieties like Top Hat or North Sky are perfect for containers. Let me give you a few quick answers to common questions. How long do blueberry bushes live? With good care, 30 to 50 years. When do they start producing fruit? Year 3 or 4. Full production at year 6 to 8. Do I need 2 blueberry bushes? You don't strictly need 2, but you'll get much more fruit with cross-pollination. How much sun do blueberries need? At least 6 hours of direct sun daily. Can I grow blueberries in shade? They'll survive, but won't produce many berries. How do I lower soil pH quickly? Mix sphagnum peat moss into the planting hole. Add sulfur for long-term maintenance. What about coffee grounds? They're slightly acidic and can be sprinkled around the base, but don't rely on them as your only acidifier. Let's wrap everything up. Highbush blueberries are incredibly rewarding. They're beautiful, they're productive, and they can live for decades. But they demand one thing: acid soil with pH between 4.0 and 5.5. Test your soil before planting. If your pH is too high, add sulfur or peat moss. Plant in full sun in well-drained soil high in organic matter. Water consistently. Fertilize with acid-loving plant fertilizer. Prune annually in late winter, removing old canes and keeping a mix of ages. Mulch with pine needles or bark, and net your bushes to keep the birds away. Here's the most important thing to remember. Blueberries are not hard, they're just specific. They're not like tomatoes or lettuce that grow in any old dirt. They want what they want. Give them acid soil, sun, and consistent water, and they will reward you with buckets of the most delicious berries you've ever tasted. And once your bushes are established, you'll have fresh blueberries every summer for decades. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Are you inspired to plant a blueberry bush? What variety are you thinking about? Or if you already grow them, share your best tip. Also, what fruit bush should I cover next? Raspberries, currants, gooseberries? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you. See you in the next video.